Welcome to Straight Talk. I'm Eugene Chan. Our guest this evening is the president of the Chinese General Chamber of Commerce of Hong Kong, Dr. Jonathan Choi. Dr. Choi is the chairman of Sunhua Group, which covers 8 principal areas, including seafood and foodstuff, real estate, financial services, technology and media. The group's activities extend deep into the mainland, as well as to Macau, Vietnam, Cambodia, Singapore, Japan, and across the oceans to Canada, the United States, and Australia. Accordingly, Dr. Choi has been awarded the Grand Bohemian Medal for his work in integrating Hong Kong with the mainland and connecting with the world. As a testament to his far-reaching influence, he has also received awards from governments in Vietnam, Korea, Japan, and France. He holds a wide range of public positions, which includes being a standing committee member of the CPPCC and council member of various international universities. Welcome, Jonathan.
Yeah, nice to meet you.
So thank you for coming to our show. And I know it's a very rare occasion that you take interviews, and I'm sure the viewers will treasure your comments.
Thank you.
Despite currently the tough times we're having in the world in Hong Kong people has always prided ourselves for being resilient and be able to rise to any challenge. And with the current geopolitical tensions in particular, we have been looking at new markets, such as the ASEAN, which is in fact the 5th largest economy in the world and our 2nd largest trading partner. The chief executive has made his first visit in November 2022, 2 weeks after the inaugural Hong Kong ASEAN Summit, and then led a delegation to visit Singapore, Indonesia, and Malaysia. And more recently, our CE in January met with the Council Generals of 10 ASEAN countries in Hong Kong. So with that background, I know that you have invested in the ASEAN for a long time. Could you set the scene for us by giving us a brief overview of the current economic relationship between Hong Kong and the ASEAN countries?
First of all, I would like to say that China and Hong Kong has a very good relationship with ASEAN countries. As for myself, I've been in Vietnam since 1970. It's almost 55 years already. And also, there's so many overseas Chinese in the ASEAN country. Therefore, Hong Kong have a very close and good connection with these countries. Therefore, I would like to say that being the geopolitical situation now, Hong Kong has good opportunity to work with ASEAN countries because most of them have a very good connection with China and with Hong Kong.
Then what are the main areas of collaboration in the past?
In the past, mainly, Hong Kong companies would like to invest in factories because they have the cheap land, cheap labor. Therefore, many textile companies, shoe companies, their factories investing in these countries. Other than that, Hong Kong is strong in real estate. They build property, hotels, and many more.
Right. So based on your experience, what changes has been occurred in ASEAN, especially in recent years? And would that be the attraction for Hong Kong business to go in right now?
I think the world has changed. In the past 20 to 30 years, these countries has been growing up. They earned a lot of foreign exchange from overseas, like US and Europe. And now the young population, they are educated, and the middle class is coming up. Therefore, there's a good market for new products from Hong Kong.
Right. Just now you mentioned that a lot of overseas Chinese are actually residing or doing business in the ASEAN countries. So how likely do you think will Hong Kong people, Hong Kong company going to invest, say, being the first time? Do you think that, as you said, most probably we will be welcome there? How likely are we going to succeed, and what is our unique selling point to them as well?
I think Hong Kong is strong in finance and also strong in service industry. In the past, we do manufacturing, and now we can provide the service industry for them. And besides that, most important, Hong Kong is part of the GBA, Greater Bay Area. Exactly. We work together with them and bring these companies from GBA and then co-invest in the ASEAN countries.
Right, so I think that will answer my next question to you is, what will be the value that we bring to the table, say, for example, coming to Singapore to the ASEAN, obviously because of our connection with the GBA?
I think with Singapore, the situation is different because Singapore is similar to Hong Kong. They are strong in finance and service industry. Therefore, we are partner, but at the same time, we are competitor. But in different ASEAN countries, like in Vietnam, Cambodia, Indonesia, that's different case. Therefore, we can bring our GBA partners together. We can invest in factory, property, and many more in these countries.
Right. Last month, you did bring a 70-member delegation to Cambodia, and the Prime Minister Hun Manet met with you and the delegation. How would you evaluate this trip, and what are the opportunities for our entrepreneurs?
For the Cambodian, of course, in the past, they were not a very good image of the country. But now, everything has changed because the new Prime Minister, highly educated, and the cabinet is different. And this time, when a big delegation coming to Cambodia, what they request us to invest in Cambodia is different from traditional business. They request, like what our China is talking about, digital economy and green economy. Therefore, we would like us to bring in EV, electric car, the clean energy storage system, solar energy, and many more, which is they're looking for green and smart in the future.
Right. And actually, at the end of last year, we saw 4 Cambodia state secretaries also visited the GBA as well, and to participate in the first China and Cambodia summit last year. So from your observation, what do they like about the GBA as well? Because we all look at collaboration. It has to go both ways.
First of all, I think Cambodia is an agricultural country. First of all, they wanted to buy their agricultural products, like the cashew nut, rice, and many more. And for the investment, they, besides having the property investment in the past, they would like us to bring in the new energy production line into Cambodia. For example, like EV car, and also the green energy storage system.
So it looks like the green economy and also the technology work will be the one that's most welcomed by the ASEAN countries.
Yeah, exactly. That's the case because, you know, in the past, because China have a lot of production capacity, they can work in these countries. But now they want the smart and green facility to be done in these countries.
Right. So what do you see from your point of view will be the main challenges, or what we could use the word obstacle, for Hong Kong businesses to be successful there?
At the moment, for ASEAN countries, we have to understand that ASEAN composed of 10 countries, 10 political systems, 10 government, and many more. All the legal systems are different. Wow. And the language, everything are different. Therefore, we have to treat them as 10 different countries instead of one. That is the obstacle. And also, every country have their own practices and way of doing business. And also the legal system is different. We need to be careful about that.
Right. So you now being the president of the Chinese General Chamber of Commerce, and how will you facilitate this sort of a dialogue between the 10 different cultures as you just speak?
It's very fortunate that Hong Kong Chinese General Chamber of Commerce, we work closely with Singapore and Thailand Chinese General Chamber of Commerce. And we have established a so-called World Chinese Entrepreneurial Conference in 1991. And Chinese General Chamber of Commerce, we are one of the convener, and the secretariat is in Hong Kong. Therefore, we can connect all these people together, so they very easily we can connect all these 10 countries. Every country, most of them, they got Chinese General Chamber of Commerce, and they are our partners.
Yeah, as you say, a lot of Chinese have been there for many years, hasn't
Yes.
it? And how will our government, or say if they have any policies or anything, how can the government help our business entrepreneurs to establish ourselves into this new market?
I think the chief executive has done a very good job. He led big delegation to Southeast Asia. Last time we worked together to Indonesia, to Malaysia, and because of him, we can meet the high leaders of every country. And when a big delegation is going there, we are well treated. Therefore, we can meet many business opportunities, and I think that is good work done by the Hong Kong government.
Right, you have a lot of positions. You're also a member of the Chief Executive Advisory Group. What else would you advise, say, the current government, apart from bring a good delegation to visit them? What else can we do to facilitate even sort of quicker and more deeper exchanges?
I think the position of Hong Kong is, firstly, we are the world financial center. That's very important. Secondly, Hong Kong is an international city. We have to promote Hong Kong as an international city that not only Hong Kong, we go into these countries. we can bring the mainland companies from GBA and whole China, we can bring them together to ASEAN countries. Because Hong Kong, we are strong in finance, service industry, but for manufacturing, I think the mainland are much better.
Right. Just now you mentioned one of the attraction to go to the ASEAN countries are the lower cost of labor and the land. And with that, with say more and more companies investing in places like Vietnam, what will be that? Would that be a serious impact on our own China's manufacturing industry?
I think the situation in China is because of geopolitical situation. Some countries may impose some restrictions on Chinese product. Therefore, they have to look for another opportunity. For example, coming to Vietnam, Cambodia, or Thailand to be processed there so that they can get the country of origin, made in Vietnam and made in Cambodia. And it will be much easier to work with Western countries.
I see.
But in the long run, I don't think it works or not. I don't know.
Right. All right, let's take a break now. But viewers, stay tuned. We will be right back. Thank you for staying with us on Straight Talk. We have been talking with Dr. Jonathan Choi, the chairman of the Hong Kong Chinese General Chamber of Commerce, about how Hong Kong can collaborate with ASEAN economies. So, Chairman or President, I think we are very fortunate that you are sharing your experiences and your views with the viewers, because I'm sure a lot of people are looking into investing into ASEAN countries. You have mentioned that they have a very strong presence of the Chinese culture that helps our integration. And hopefully with more tourists coming to Hong Kong, we have even deeper collaboration as we hope. Let's sort of look even further away. Let's look at the Belt and Road Initiative, which includes the Indonesia, Malaysia, Myanmar, Philippines, Thailand, and Vietnam. Now you're being the co-chairman of the Belt and Road Business Association Alliance. What specific initiative would you like to see the Hong Kong or the central government to help support and promote the participation of Hong Kong to become what we call a super connector in this initiative?
I think for the Chinese government, they initiated the Belt and Road. And for this initiation, we can do many things all over the world. And for Hong Kong, I just feel that we have to focus in ASEAN countries. They are mentioned already. Other than that, there are new areas that is important for Hong Kong is the Gulf countries.
I see.
Recently, the chief executive and our presidency, he went to Dubai, Abu Dhabi, and many more. And we just feel that this is a new area that Hong Kong can look into because, they are rich in the resources, oil and gas, and also more importantly, they have a lot of money. Hong Kong is a financial center. We can work closely with them. Besides, they need many green technology and a smart city and all this. They have a Hong Kong. We are strong in technology and also service industry. We can really work closely with them. Besides the Gulf countries, I think traditionally, EU is very important for us. And of course, I mean EU including UK also. They have a UK plus EU. And I think this is a traditional area that Hong Kong has been trading and working closely with them. Therefore, as Chinese General Chamber of Commerce, we cannot cover the whole world. Therefore, we focus more firstly in the ASEAN countries, Northeast Asia, that is Korea and South Korea and Japan. And then we work closely with the Gulf countries and also EU and UK. That is what we are doing at the moment.
Right. Thank you for giving a very broad view of all the potential markets can tap into. In the 14th five-year plan of our nation, we have been tasked with 8 major centers. That's our role, and Hong Kong actually will need to grow as well. Yeah. But one area that we've been talking about is the size of population, for example. If you look at Hong Kong and Guangzhou and Shenzhen, there are more people than Hong Kong. Yeah. And even Fushan actually even have higher population than at the moment. Of course, we are not wanting to have a sort of super crowded city, but we need the population to grow. So how should you see Hong Kong will grow in this national policy? How can we grow with the guidance and support from the central government, from your point of view?
I think Hong Kong, most importantly, we need to integrate in the development of the Greater Bay Area. That's very important. And yesterday I was in Shenzhen, and being appointed to be the chair of the Shenzhen Hong Kong Association. And I would like to connect more Hong Kong and Shenzhen. We need the young talent from GBA and also the whole country into Hong Kong. The size of the population in Hong Kong is not big, 7.5 million people. We need not only the young talent, we also need population. You see, but there's a bit, there are some different opinion, we understand that. But being a big city, we need population. Therefore, the human resources to support our industry and also young talents for the development, we need both. Therefore, hopefully, the Hong Kong government, if doing that already, bring more talent and people from the mainland to Hong Kong.
Right, so Dr. Choi, I think you have answered many people's questions in their mind, because I remember last week we had the Global Talent Summit.
Yes.
And I remember some of the reporters was asking, yes, we have new talents coming to Hong Kong, but a lot of them with a mainland background, although they're from overseas. So are we not being international? But what you're saying now, we're doing exactly the right thing, because we need the mainland talents to help Hong Kong to grow.
Yes. I think Hong Kong, we need talents from all over the world. But now we have the young talents, but many of them, they are educated in the Western countries already. Therefore, I think they got the Western experience and China experience. Therefore, it's good for Hong Kong. And I think if the competitiveness and the attractiveness of Hong Kong is improving, I think there will be more talents from all over the world is coming, not only from China, maybe Japan, Korea, US, even Europe. I have many friends from this country coming to Hong Kong already.
You also had another initiative by suggesting setting up a Silk Road data center and arbitration center in Hong Kong. Can you share your thoughts on why you suggest those centers?
We just feel that at the moment, for the data flow from China to Hong Kong or international world is not easy. Therefore, we need to have a flow of this data for the commercial use or the medical use and for academic use. We need them. Therefore, we are talking about in the loop between Shenzhen and Hong Kong. There's a place, there's a Hetao. We can really work on that. And at the same time, Hong Kong, we have the infrastructure for the telecommunication. Therefore, if we can put another data center, big data center in Hong Kong, I think it's good for Hong Kong in the future. Because Hong Kong, in the future, we need to be strong in technology, smart city, and many more. Therefore, we just feel that data communication is very important for Hong Kong.
Right, so Jonathan, I also want to ask you a direct question that has just come to my mind. That recently we hear a lot of news in the grapevine that because of geopolitics, Hong Kong's role of being an international financial center has been kind of hard hit because there are very few IPOs coming, and so our international financial center, such as legal firms, are actually facing huge challenges. Do you think Hong Kong can facilitate like infrastructure development and financing for Belt and Road projects in the ASEAN countries? Would it be a good way out for Hong Kong?
I think first of all, we have to create Hong Kong's competitiveness, how to attract international investors in Hong Kong. I think Hong Kong recently, we are hard hit by the environment, and the stock market was not performing well in the past few months. But now, it's coming back. The confidence and attractiveness of Hong Kong is coming back. Therefore, we should have confidence, first of all. Secondly, besides attracting IPO from China mainland, more importantly, we need international investment. Therefore, ASEAN is a place that we have to look into. For example, like Vietnam, like Indonesia, Thailand, there are many mature, successful companies. We hope that we can come to Hong Kong for IPO. Because most of the ASEAN countries, these businessmen, they go to Singapore. But they can't have another choice. Another choice, it must be Hong Kong. Therefore, we need to do something for that.
Right, so that means if we engage them more, if they come to Hong Kong more, we have a much better chance than, at least to give them another choice than just Singapore, isn't it?
Exactly.
Right, so we are now quite at the end of our discussion. We have covered a lot of areas, although only a very short time. So what is your general outlook for the Hong Kong economy? See, you just mentioned the confidence is coming back, but a lot of viewers will say to you, Dr. Choi, we are worried. So what will you say to them right now?
I think most importantly, our advantage is we get the support from our motherland. That's most important. And at the same time, we connect the whole international world. That is our strength. Therefore, in the long run, we need to achieve our competitiveness and attractiveness to all the international investors to come back to Hong Kong. That's what we should do.
Right. Another thing is, obviously, Hong Kong roadmap is closely linked with the mainland. When do you see a rebound in the mainland markets?
I think it's coming up, but because of the political tension, it is not easy. We know that. Therefore, first of all, we need to first of all build confidence, build a good economy, and attract more investors back to the mainland. That is most important.
Right. Thank you for a very direct answer. So I can ask you the one final question. You now being the chair of the GBA Entrepreneurs Alliance. How do you see our 9+2 cities within the GBA coordinating and complementing each other to maximize this GBA's and the nation's development? How do you see that?
I think the GBA is already working closely together already, but some industry maybe they look for their own interests. They're very competitive. Therefore, I would like to say that if the central government and the Guangdong government can look into it and collaborate together, we can be more efficient and effective.
Do you think our current government has that determination?
I think so. I think we will do it in the future.
So what shall we do to support this government in order to make this work for everybody?
We need to make more proposals for that. For example, like our container terminal. It's a pity that it dropped below top 10 already.
Exactly.
Therefore, how we can change our business model and work closely with the mainland so that we have a division of labor, no keen competition, and we work together. That's what we should do.
All right. So I'm afraid that's all the time we have. Thank you, Dr. Choi. In conclusion, the collaboration between Hong Kong and ASEAN countries holds immense promise for mutual growth and prosperity, particularly through strategic partnerships within the Belt and Road Initiative and as part of the Greater Bay Area. As our Chief Executive Johnny said, we are all believers in ASEAN and its rising economic power and its expanding connectivity. Have a good evening and see you next week.